Well, good morning, everyone. We're at the 5 o'clock hour in the morning here on Sunday, January 25th, and we are in the midst of a winter storm bringing heavy snowfall across not just central Indiana, but this is a look from the north side of Indianapolis where you can certainly see that snow actively falling along 465. This is near Ditch Road, where we'll continuously see the snow falling. So we're going to keep you updated throughout the morning, throughout the day on the snow that is coming down and how that is impacting our roads. Basically everywhere throughout the metro at this point, completely snow covered. And traffic is very, very light, which is a great thing. We've got a lot of plows out there, a lot of crews working extended shifts to kind of keep up with the snowfall. But it's coming down at such a clip at this point that it's going to be basically impossible to keep up with it. So we're going to see snow stack up. Crews will be continuously working to clear that, but I think it's going to be a tough go of it, especially as snow continues to actively fall. Got a couple of reports that have come in so far today. Of course, this is as of this morning, as of about 4 o'clock this morning, the National Weather Service out on the west side of Indianapolis officially measuring 3.2 inches so far. We just had a 6-inch report down in Vincennes from our friends at the Emergency Management Office down there in Knox County, and up in Yorktown, a 2.3-inch report thus far. So this is all just kind of getting going as we have seen some heavier snow bands set up across southern Indiana, and the snow banding starting to kind of lift a little bit northward as far as the snowfall intensity goes. Temperatures right now falling into the single digits. We're down to 9 in Indy. It's 10 in Shelbyville, but notice just to our south where some of these darker blues are starting to be picked up here on the radar. That's where our snowfall rates will start to intensify. We're talking up to 1 inch per hour, perhaps in some spots up to 2 inches per hour. Depending on how heavy that snow band gets. So it's just south of Bloomington, south of Columbus. So we're watching places like Seymour to Bedford, where the heaviest of that snowfall is. And again, that report of 6 inches already down in Vincennes. That is in that zone where we are forecasting still 12 to perhaps up to 14 inches when this is all said and done. Here in the Indy Metro, snow rates a little lighter, but still pretty significant as far as that coverage area and some of those heavier bands setting up in between. Wanted to show you a couple views from across central Indiana right now. This is up in Carmel. As of the 5 o'clock hour, we're at 8 degrees as that snow is still actively falling, of course, coating everything at this point, our sidewalks, our roads, our streets, parking lots, all of that. Here's a look over in Connorsville, where we have seen some snowplow crews come through, but you can see that quickly gets covered right back over. This is that main junction there in downtown Connorsville, 9 degrees at this point. We're starting to see even a little bit of perhaps some drifting going on. You can see next to those parked cars, roads obviously completely covered as that snow is still actively falling. Wanted to show you a look at that bigger picture. We've got quite the setup here. As advertised, we've got this ice event that is unfolding across Tennessee, northern portions of Mississippi, now starting to see measurable ice accumulation there. And then you got places like Atlanta that's briefly sitting in the warm sector of this weather system, and that's actually bringing a strong to severe storm threat across parts of the deep south. So quite the situation here between north and south. And of course, as we look back to our southwest, this is where we're still seeing snow and precip development. It's pulling up some of that Gulf moisture, fueling that ongoing low pressure zone, and it's just continuing, not letting up. So all of this you still see to our southwest. Well, that's what's headed still in our direction. So this is going to be a long duration event with ongoing snow likely throughout the course of the day, wrapping up later this evening. Obviously, because of that, we've got widespread winter storm alerts, ice to the south, and for us here in central Indiana, it's a winter storm warning. As mentioned yesterday evening, that's when this went into effect. It was extended. It's going to run all the way through the morning hours. About 7 a.m. on Monday is when that is set to expire. But the snow's going to wrap up a little before that. It's the ongoing impacts that we're concerned with. So your storm headlines as we look ahead through Monday morning, the steadiest and the heaviest snowfall, it is here, and travel conditions will continue to worsen until this all starts to let up. For the rest of the day, a bulk of that accumulation is going to happen before 6 p.m. After 6 o'clock, that snow is going to start to taper off, but we're going to see winds increasing today, and then we're going to see our temperatures drop. So some light snow will be possible through early Monday, but we're going to start to talk about some of that pretty brutal cold that will settle in. Here's a look over downtown Indy, basically a whiteout right now as some of those lights are reflecting near that camera lens, giving us this bright view. It's 9 degrees now, 7 below for the wind chill, and we're not going to see a big temperature change today. We'll warm a few degrees back to about 15, but really, of course, that major weather story today is going to be that ongoing snow chance. This takes us through 10 o'clock. This is our high-resolution weather model. Updates every hour for you. So this is at 10 a.m. We're still going to be monitoring the heaviest of the snow bands kind of right there along and south of the I-70 corridor. We might see a little bit of a lull after that midday hour, closer to about 2 p.m. here, but then it's going to fill right back in. That takes us through 4 o'clock today. Still looking at some of those heavier snow bands setting up along the Ohio River Valley. After 4 o'clock, that's when we'll finally start to see things tapering off. This is going to happen from west to east this evening. This is at 6 p.m. I think the whole thing starts to wrap up here between about 6 and 8 o'clock. Then we could see some light wraparound snow showers, especially in northern Indiana for the evening and overnight. And then that brutal cold is set to settle in. So we'll talk about that coming up. As far as wind gusts, it really hasn't been much of an issue so far. But given the fact that it is so cold outside, that's going to change the texture of the snowfall. It's going to make it a very light, kind of powdery, dusty snow. So any increase in wind, it's going to start to blow that around, everything that's already on the surface. So as we get into this afternoon, here's 4:30 today, you're going to notice the wind gusts increasing 25 to 30 miles per hour. And I do think that could potentially start to blow some of that snow around, creating some visibility concerns as well as starting to see some drifting issues. And I think those winds stay elevated to about 30 miles per hour through the evening tonight. So talking about how that's going to impact your roads, we're still thinking that there will be some secondary roadways, especially south of the I-70 corridor, that could potentially become impassable. We also have snow-covered dangerous roads elsewhere. If you are planning, I would just avoid being on the roads if at all possible. And this takes us all the way through Monday even. It's going to take some time. There are hierarchy levels that crews go through in order to clear out the main thoroughfares first, and then they eventually get to those secondary roads and beyond. So until they're able to get to some of these more rural roads or even just secondary roads here within the Indy Metro, I think a lot of these travel issues are not going to be improved anytime soon. Also, mentioning the fact that it is so cold, all of these pre-treatment efforts are less effective because of that colder air. Here's the latest snowfall potential. Not a big time change from what we've been showing you. Biggest thing to focus on here is the fact that right here along and south of I-70, we did increase that line, or where I should say we lifted it a little farther to the north. So that does now include Shelbyville, most of Morgan and Johnson counties down to Bloomington, Columbus, Seymour, and Bedford in that 12 to 14-inch zone. And the fact that Vincennes is already halfway there with a 6-inch report at the top of this past hour, I think these numbers are tracking pretty good. 8 to 12 inches, Indianapolis north, and then that 5 to 8-inch zone for our friends up in Lafayette to Marion, and then up closer to Peru, Huntington, Marion, that whole zone there. Let's talk about how this stacks up against snowfall events of the past. So these are your 2-day snowfall totals. Keep in mind, again, we forecasted that 8 to 12 inches. Last time we had over a foot of snow in a 2-day span was back in 2009. Obviously, we compare a lot of these snow events to the blizzard of 1978, where we had 15.2 inches over a 2-day span there. So we're going to get very close to this potentially, especially southern Indiana. These are for Indianapolis. Those records go back to 1871, but it's not unheard of, but it is quite rare to see that much snow out of a storm, even in the peak winter here. So again, showing you how the snow is setting up to the north. We're watching this freezing line very closely because that's what's creating some of the more extensive power outages this morning. Check it out. Over in Texas, over to Louisiana, and then throughout Mississippi. That's where we have most of the power outages, and a lot of it is across the northern half of Mississippi. Some of these counties just completely without power as that ice continues to fall and accumulate, creating a very difficult situation down to the south. We've also been monitoring our power outages here locally, and so far so good. So that becomes more of an issue with very gusty winds as well as that ice chance. So for us, just dealing with snow at this point, that has kept us on the good side of power outages at least. Let's talk temperatures, because once the snow wraps up, we're really going to see these numbers plummet. Anytime you get a fresh snowpack, cold Arctic air settling in over top of it, it just creates one of the situations where temperatures will plummet down to 4 below during the overnight. These are your air temps. Then we factor in that wind will continue, and we're going to be feeling more like 20 to 30 below as we wake up on Monday morning. And as far as our temperatures go throughout the course of the day tomorrow, I think our max wind chill is about 13 below for the afternoon hours tomorrow. And again, with this fresh snowpack that we're going to have, I mean, in any daylight hours we get and the sun comes out, it's going to reflect all of that just back up into the atmosphere. So it's going to be hard to absorb any warmth at all. And that just creates one of those situations where we just do not see temperatures warming up. We're back to about 8. As we get into our Monday afternoon, we'll forecast a high near 9 for Indy and 12 in Columbus. Temperatures going to remain below average as well this week. So your high temperatures, many of us going to stay below 20 degrees all the way through February 1st. And as far as getting back above freezing, that could potentially not happen until February 3rd. And as far as our low temperatures during the overnight hours, I think they're going to be pretty brutal. There's going to be several days this week where our low temperatures fall 5 below, perhaps as cold as 10 below in some situations. And we're looking at a below average trend that's going to take us into next week. In fact, look at this. These are your forecast low temperatures that do get above 0 Saturday for a week from today, and then on into next week. Things warm up a little bit, but it's going to be a pretty brutal week. So that's why we've extended these weather impact alert days to go all the way through Thursday, because check out some of these low temperatures. 7 below Tuesday morning, 10 below Wednesday morning, and 7 below on Thursday morning as well. Not quite as brutal by Friday, but not warm by any means. 16 next Saturday, and it does look like that pattern eventually starts to become a little bit more mild. So we're keeping you updated all through the morning. Starting at 6 o'clock, we're going to be going live with our normal 13 sunrise show, but we're going to be on continuously through the morning, keeping you updated on this ongoing winter storm.